Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about the different types of forces, and I'm going to be going into more depth and detail. So first off, I have this example that I drew, basically displaying the different kinds of forces. So here we have gravitational force, which is pulling it down, and then we have the normal force, which is having the box that is on the floor. Then we have friction force, which is pulling it left, and then the push force, which is applied and is pulling it to the right. And as you can see in the left corner, I drew a free body diagram, which we'll be going more into depth a little bit later in the video. But this kind of shows you the forces that are in this situation. So the direction of the force would be going down. In this example right here, I kind of just have the gravitational force too, which is an object that is being pulled towards the ground or anything to do with its weight that is making it go to the floor. And then in this example, I have the gravity force, which is bringing the girl down to the earth, and then the air resistance, which is bringing her up because of the parachute. And up in the right, you can see again the free body diagram of F air and then F and G. And I'll also go over the symbols later on. And then lastly, in this example, I have a rope that is tied to a pencil, which the tension force is bringing it up with because of the rope. And then the gravity force, which is pulling it down. And then again, in the free body diagram up in the right, you can see how like the force tension is up and then the force of gravity is down. So here are the different symbols of forces that I've written down. So the first one is going to be normal force, which is a supportive force that's like on a surface. So it could be like a laptop laying down on a table or a shoe laying down on a floor. And then we have the applied force, which is the F, and then the APP. Applied force is basically anything like something basically applying to another object. So like if you were to push a box like we had in the first example, like you're applying that force onto it. Or we have somebody pushing someone on a swing set, you're applying that force onto something else. Then we have the air resistance force, which is the F air one. And for air resistance force, it's like a force basically opposing the motion when something goes through the air. So we have that parachute again of that air basically going through the parachute, so it's going kind of resisted. And then we have next force of gravity, so that's like the weight of the object that's pulling it down. So that could be pretty much we have in the first example the box being pulled down to the ground, which is your gravity. And then next we have the friction force, which is FF, and that is force that opposes motions when things slide across one another. So like when the box slides across the floor, it's getting force like on that floor. Next we have spring force, so that's like, spring, and when it's compressed or stretched, it applies to the object. So like one of those like Jack in the Box, for example, when it finally opens, it just springs out. That's the force of spring. Then lastly, we have tension force, which is FT, and that shows like the force applied to an object. So it can be like a wire, rope, string, or anything like that. So like the rope tied to the pencil, for example, that's tension force. So next, I'm going to kind of talk over a free body diagram. So it's those body diagrams that I've been showing you throughout the examples. It's like those squares with the arrows. Basically, this is how you know if it's like unbalanced or not. So you're going to find the F net in the Y direction first. So that's the first one, which is up there. So you're going to take that and subtract it from the one below. And then you get the 0N. Then you're going to take the F net in the X direction and kind of do the same thing, but you're going to do the 20 subtract the 25 on the left for that, x direction. And it equals negative 5n, so that means it's unbalanced. To find out if it's balanced, the F net equals 0 and the acceleration is also equal to 0. And then here's an example of a balanced free body diagram. So we have the y one, which is the up and down, and we have that 10 subtract 10 and it equals 0n. And then also on the same two sides for the x, the 5 minus 5, which is also 0n, so that is balanced. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up a lot about the different types of forces, and then the free body diagrams, and then how it's applied to the real world. I hope that you learned something new today, because this is definitely one of my favorite topics in physics. So yeah, have a great day, everyone. Bye!